Group B in Paris, Australia, Germany, United States, and Zambia. A tough group for the United States. We start with them, a side that's heading to their 8th consecutive Olympics. They've medaled in 6 of their 7 appearances. However, their last 2, or 2016 in Rio, they got 5th, and in 2020 in Tokyo, they were both not in the gold medal match. For the United States, Darian, what are their realistic expectations heading into Paris?
In my opinion, they have to medal. Do I think they're going to get gold? It's plausible, but I'm not that confident defensively. I don't think we've been asked enough questions leading into this tournament to really know what that's going to look like. We saw the U.S. In the World Cup look exposed on set pieces and transition. And I don't know if we've gotten enough of a test from high quality teams going into this to really see how much we've improved. And if I were an opponent looking at the U.S., I'm thinking, send it over the left side, the left back goes high, and that's how we're going to score goals. So maybe the U.S. will be informed going into these games because we saw them struggling to score. And once you score one, I think it's just going to keep coming, especially with the front line that we have. But yeah, the big question marks defensively against this group is going to be tough.
Christine, do they medal?
I do think they medal. I don't quite know where yet. I think I echo the same thing that Darian said in that even if you look back at World Cup, yes, different coach. What we've seen more recently with these friendlies is they're not clinical. They're not able to finish. And I worry that that will be an issue going forward because we've already seen that they have a really hell of a time trying to break down a low block. And I worry that that should be, technically, if you've been watching, would be the default response for a team that can't necessarily get one over on them.
I don't think everyone's going to play in a low block against the U.S., though.
I don't think that's
These
true.
teams are much better than who they've been playing against.
I think that you kind of have them exposed where you know what will be a big challenge for them. And if they're already having trouble getting shots on target, not necessarily shots off, because we see that is not an issue. If you need to throw a wrench in it, that could be, your backup plan in
Lisa,
your pocket.
do you think they medal?
I think they get to a medal match.
Ooh!
I like that.
I'm being realistic.
That was a good way to put that.
I think they make it to either a bronze medal match, maybe gold medal match. I think it's going to depend on the path that they have to take to get out of their group. If they win their group, it's a much harder path. I don't know how realistic it is for USA to top this group with Germany, Australia, and Zambia. Yes.
If eventually down the road
would be a massive,
would be a massive challenge, I think, for
which
this
is
side.
really tough. So considering we all think they could medal, what is considered a good result, would you say, for U.S. soccer and Emma Hayes at her first international tournament?
Are we talking contextually, as looking at the holistic of what the U.S. women's side is?
Yes.
I would say for the public, gold. They need to gold. I think anything less than that is going to be not acceptable. Right. It's going to be, they failed. Now, do I hold that opinion? I think that I would accept silver, but I think that what we're used to is this legacy of winning, and everybody's looking for this new, young, scrappy, talented team under Emma Hayes to outperform what was previously there. And so I think that the expectations are wildly high.
I agree. They're, exponentially high. I think a little unrealistic. People are freaking out that they couldn't score in the last matchup and the friendlies leading up to this, so there wasn't more. I think we're seeing them develop into the team that they're going to be. I don't think that they're at that yet. This is going to propel them into that. I do see maybe a bronze.
Yeah, we'll see. Emma Hayes, the head coach for the United States women's national team, did talk about how fans have unrealistic expectations of this group, and she's trying to steer their expectations towards reality for what could happen. That means the 22 players that she is taking with her. Don't worry, we will have a full United States versus Zambia preview on our next show, so don't miss that. But elsewhere in Group B, Germany, this is their 6th Olympics. They have won gold in 2016, but they missed out on Tokyo Olympics, and now Germany back in the mix. How much has changed, Christine, for Germany since 2016, the last time that they medaled?
Oh, a lot for sure. But I think they are still the same scrappy German side that is absolutely well-performing, well-oiled. They know what they have to do. They still have strength in Nuskin and Pop, Bull, Philly Rausch. They have a lot of talent on that squad, and they are very organized.
What's going to be the biggest hurdle for Germany, Darian?
Playing a full 90-minute game, watching friendlies leading up to us, watch them qualifying for tournaments, for Euros. It's been tough because they don't start games out well. It takes them until about the 50th, 60th minute to finally look like the side that we expect to see. Other teams are going to come out knowing that and hit hard. So seeing if Germany can really put together a performance from the first minute on is going to be interesting. And with the injuries they have with Oberdorf, I know we keep talking about her, but she really is the linchpin for this team. I think it's going to be difficult for them if they really don't start games out hot and heavy.
Every single nation is dealing with injuries, but Germany seems to be the biggest hit to their roster and their style of play that they were hoping to compete in, especially in this group stage. Meanwhile, Australia, they are also in this Group B. This is their third straight Olympics. Back in Tokyo 2020, Australia finished fourth. They fell to the United States in that bronze medal match, but the biggest difference this time around, Australia is without all-time leading goal scorer forward Sam Kerr, who is still recovering from her ACL injury in January. Christine, how much does Kerr's absence hurt Australia?
A ton. I feel like Sam Kerr is a once-in-a-lifetime player. Right? You're not going to get, in the same way that Germany will struggle without Oberdorf, Australia are not fully Australia without Sam Kerr. And that's not a slight to them. It's just that she is extraordinary in every way.
What do they lose without her?
Goal scoring, clinical finishing, some even playmaking, creativity, a lot.
She is a player to me that no matter what team she's on, but she's proven it when she was a Sky Blue, she could score a goal out of nothing. She creates something out of absolutely nothing. So when things aren't going right, when your style of play, your tactics aren't fully coming together, maybe a team's in a low block where you don't have a lot of possession, she's a player that you can rely on to make something happen.
Without her, what does Australia rely on now?
Their team play. I don't know if there's not a same individual, I think, that can bring what Sam Kerr brings, but I think the World Cup proved, and a few of their friendlies that we've watched, that they can actually come together and play as a team, break teams down. There's a variety of players that can score and that have really developed into veterans for this team. But it's going to be interesting. I do think they rely a lot on Sam Kerr, which every team she's played for does.
It's going to be tricky for Australia in this group. We'll see, though, because there's also Zambia, who is headed to their second consecutive Olympics in Tokyo. They unfortunately didn't get out of the group stage. However, they're coming off of their first Women's World Cup appearance where they finished third in the group. How can Zambia surprise their group members, Darian?
All gas! Attack, attack, attack. I think this is going to be really fun to watch them play in this group because they have such attacking threat defensively. Obviously, that's their weakest position. The organization, to me, isn't there. Just seeing them play, seeing how the tactics aren't necessarily fully set for them to lock teams out of scoring on them, but they're going to score a lot of goals. I mean, they have Nanji, Banda, both unstoppable players who just kind of flick defenders off of them left and right. It's going to be fun to watch teams try to shut those two down.
Entertaining football to come from them for sure. When we think about Barbara Banda being on an absolute tear in the NWSL with Orlando Pride, and now she gets to compete internationally, Christine, what do you think is the game plan in terms of getting Barbara Banda the ball? How does Zambia put Banda in the best position to succeed?
I don't know, have like 10 other players willing to feed her? No, but realistically, Rachel Kunananji and Banda together are absolutely terrifying. Obviously, they have an entire rest of the squad that they'll be playing with. It's not like they're the only two players on the pitch. But I think that they are going to be like full weight behind the attack. So I think that she will be supported. But even if she's not, we've seen what Banda can do all on her own.
Yeah.
That's not to say she needs to put this entire game on her back, but I'm sure she'd love to. She's powerful and graceful. She's calculated, she's smart, she's great at reading just where somebody's going to go. And she's also so good at sending you out for lunch. And it's like so disrespectful, but it's so much fun to watch.
Oh, well, it's so fun to watch her. So I want to know, just real quickly, when Zambia plays the United States and then they take on Australia and then they play Germany, how many goals does Banda get in the group stage? Just a fun guess.
8.
Oh, I'll say 4.
I like that. That's absolutely hilarious. We'll see. She takes on the United States first, and the U.S. has to try to stop her.